We're going to start with the nation. NLC rejects DSS warning to shelve planned protests. Ikorodu's body in Owo for final rights. Troops kill terrorists in Kaduna Forest, clear hideout. Give Tinubu's reform more time, Groan pleads with Nigerians. Federal workers get 4 months wage award. Senate opposes plan to remove electricity subsidy. And 12 million more Nigerians to get direct cash transfer. Okay, which story are we starting with in the nation?
Major headline.
Okay.
NLC and the DSS have entered a no gree for them session. The NLC had declared a Tuesday and Wednesday next week national protest against the hardship happening in the country, and they've issued that they will follow it with a 2 weeks ultimatum for the government to fully implement a 16-point agreement that they reached in October, and a lot of other issues they want the government to address. But the DSS picked it up, and according to the Director of Public Relations and Strategic Communications, Mr. Peter Afwaya of the DSS, he said that the attention has been drawn to the 27th and the 28th organized labor protests to be staged across the country, and they are asking that the NLC calm it down or hold it down for a while, because they have reports, intelligence that there are people waiting to hijack it. But the NLC say, arrest anybody trying to hijack it. We insist on going on with the protest. Although the DSS say this is a legitimate right of any labor movement, but they're asking them to shelve it for the interest of peace and order. I hope that's the best thing happens on that day.
I hope the DSS protects the protesters, because Nigerians are entitled to protest.
They said that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, visited the president yesterday, and did a press briefing and said that the government is doing everything it can to reduce the poverty and that Nigerians are feeling right now. He was speaking after he saw the president. He said he understands the pain, that there's no president that has not gone through the same criticisms that the president is currently going through. He said, I was telling him that there is no Nigerian leader that has never gotten this kind of criticism, that certainly there is no doubt about all one has heard from the public and even the media. The government is doing its best to deal with the various problems. All I can say to Nigerians is that they have to give the president more time to get things done. It's too early to say the president and the perfect result will be achieved. He said that during his own time, people said that, that he was too slow in fighting the war, that probably Nigeria would never make it. And today, that's history, because indeed we made it at that time. So he said the criticism is normal. He also appealed to the president concerning ECOWAS, saying that the sanctions against those key states, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, should be lifted for the sake of peace, as a surviving founding member of the fathers of ECOWAS, saying that he is appealing that the sanctions be lifted so as to move things forward in that region.
I like that past president is encouraging.
Yes. Yeah. How much have a story, Nation?
Yes, okay, so federal workers get 4 months. Workers have been paid award for 4 months. The presidency yesterday said introduced to soften the pain from removal of petrol subsidy. In a tweet, an official who confirmed the payment said the balance of 35,000 for 2 months is being worked out. It will be paid soon. He also said Minister of State, Labor and Employment, Ikorodu Road, briefed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday on the issues. So at the end of the day,
we should be smiling a bit to the bank.
We should be smiling a bit to the bank.
Part of the things the NLC is asking.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm taking a story about the terrorists being killed in Chad. Sadly, two soldiers also lost their lives. So we have 2 soldiers being killed, 3 injured as troops of the multinational joint task force in the Lake Chad region. There was an onslaught against terrorists within that area. The 2 deceased soldiers is said to be one from Nigeria and one from the Republic of Chad, and they were killed by terrorists in the operation that took place February 10th and February 20th. There's been a lot of successes being recorded for the multinational joint task force, and the expectation is that it will continue to go more. Confirming the death yesterday, the Chief of Military Public Information, Lieutenant Abubakar Abdullahi, commended the soldiers that went into the battle and said that a lot of terrorists also lost their lives within that attack. So it was a successful attack, just that it was a sad occurrence of 2 soldiers being part of the deceased.
The Punch, TUC NLC split as DSS warns Labour against planned protest. Banks sell $172 million as CBN, AFCC battle currency speculators. Senate rejects electricity tariff hike, probes $2 trillion subsidy. Motorist groan as fuel scarcity hits Lagos hard. Lagos prophet drowns during Valentine's Day beach hangout. $10 billion fraud easy to arraign ex-Kwara Governor Ahmed on Friday. And Edo APC welcomes rerun after controversial governorship primary.
So following the Minister for Power's disclosure that we cannot sustain subsidy payments on electricity, the Senate listened to a motion moved by Senator Aminu Abbas of Adamawa Central, during where he raised the issue, says that they should retain subsidy on electricity in the country for the foreseeable future. And so the debate was very interesting. I like that the senators moved from one angle of all the areas that, the discourse did not address, where they've made profits that, should also be audited. And they're saying, we cannot do this now. The Senate resolved. They resolved on 3 things. They resolved, they kicked against the Minister of Powers, the Ministry of Power has moved to approve the hike in electricity prices, electricity tariff by the discos. They also rejected plans to remove the electricity subsidy given the present condition of the country. And then they called on government to step down the idea of an increase of the electricity tariff.
Isn't that it's like we're playing? I don't
They also directed that the Committee on Power to investigate $2 trillion required for electricity subsidy payment, other debts owed in the sector, and the state of metering in the country. They looked into the details. So if you have been thinking about to answer Minister for Power, go and watch that plenary session again. It's very
I would like to watch it because I don't know. There are arguments on both sides. How do you give you power
valid on both sides? So we have some unanswered questions that just remove subsidies. Like declare another party for the discourse now. All the grants they've got, all the money
they are not making profit.
No, they're not. But government over time, we have government over time giving them assistance, aids and grants and like that. So that is on one side. There's also the uncaptured estimated bills.
Okay, let's move on to another story. We have a few minutes. So there were long queues in many filling stations across Lagos State through the National Association of Road Transport Owners. They've called off the strike. The queues, Punch gathered, that started building up in parts of Lagos on Tuesday. I experienced that too. I had to spend about 25 minutes at the gas station, I think on Monday. So the queue was born out of fear by Nigerians that the premium motor spirit might become scarce as a result of the strike, the NATO strike. So Tuesday and Wednesday, Nigerians stormed filling stations to engage in panic buying. It was learned that the refusal of the tanker drivers to lift fuel on Monday and Tuesday also had affected many filling stations owned by independent marketers. So many people were actually scared, but I'm hoping that by today, because we know that diesel was eventually provided for many of these tankers to go lift. So the fuel queues were caused by those 2-day stoppage of operations. We're hoping that Lagosians have lamented over the fuel scarcity that struck many, and hopefully by this weekend, things should have eased out across the state. Okay, let's go on a short break now. When we come back, we continue with our reviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back.